You're going to come to my door and you're worried that I'm going to do something? Do I seriously look like a threat to you?
My name is Nicole Miske, and I'm too conservative for the conservatives. My co-host Rob Ambrose, not woke enough for the liberals. We are the political orphans. As you saw from the video, we are trying for the second time this week. Hopefully this time it works. But we are joined by Nicole Miske. She's the woman who received a visit from the police a couple of weeks ago, and her video absolutely went viral last week. So here she is, try to make sense, at least answer some questions to try to make sense. What the hell happened? Nicole, thank you for being here.
Hey, Nicole, appreciate your time.
Okay. Hi, thank you for having me.
We'll start at the beginning. Did they ever, you know what? Explain to us what happened, because we see a video that's 2-3 minutes long. You're in the middle of a conversation, a heated conversation, like you were ready for that conversation. But can you explain to us what happened?
For us.
Yes, please.
Well, no, what happened? I had a nice fat joint, so sorry, you were cutting out.
Yeah, I believe there's a lag problem again.
Okay, I think we might. Again. She's clear now. Nico was just saying, if you could paint a picture there, Nicole, for what happened, because we only caught the camera only started rolling halfway through. So if you could just bring us back to that day a little bit and give us a bit of background on it.
Well, yeah, like it just happened unexpectedly. I'm very vocal online. I haven't been quiet like ever.
Is she
lagging? And so it caught me off guard. I had just finished smoking a joint. All of a sudden, I hear them shouting my name. They didn't even knock. They're just like, so I go to the door and they're like, yeah, can we speak to you about your posts online? And I'm like, are you fucking serious? I grabbed my phone, right? Immediately started recording, like, you're going to record this? I'm like, you bet your ass I am. And then off to the races we went, and I just was completely shocked by the whole thing. And like with my camera work, it was like my hand was shaking so much, right? So that's why the video, and so annoyed that I couldn't contain it. So my hand was shaking and I didn't know what else to do because they wrecked my buzz. And then I couldn't believe they had the nerve to show up over something. And they never even showed me any kind of proof of anything.
So they never showed you the post in question? Because that's the question I've been wondering from the get-go. Yeah. Not that you should ever receive a visit from the police for a post you made online, unless it's a direct threat. I can understand to a certain extent. I don't agree with it, but if you're threatening to kill someone, I can understand why people might take that seriously. But did they ever tell you what the post was that warranted a visit to your place?
No, and I never threatened anybody. Apparently, one of the things that's going around is, okay, there's two different things I think it could be, right? And one of them is that I very much support rounding up the government and publicly hanging them for treason against Canada and Canadians. But that is my opinion. To it, meaning that I want to get him the fuck out of office because he's a treasonous bastard, and I'm done with him. Doesn't mean that I'm going to go out there and cause him physical harm. There is no malice behind what I said, other than, yeah, that's a fucking promise.
Was there anything you wanted to add to this, Rob? Because I know you're dying to say something, so go for it.
I mean, clearly the connection is not the best, and we apologize to you guys for that. I mean, sometimes it happens when you have these sorts of shows. I think we got the gist of what she's trying to say,
sorry,
though.
I don't understand what's
No,
wrong
Nicole,
with
it's not. It's just how it goes sometimes with the internet. No worries about that. But I think we caught enough there, just in case the audience didn't hear. So, you know, the point of it is they never told you what your tweets were, but you think that was probably a couple that maybe were said, you know, maybe not the most
No.
advised tweets. Maybe, you know, you should maybe a little came off a little hot-headed, but certainly nothing that should be recognized as a real threat or that would warrant, you know, 2 cops coming to the house is kind of the takeaway that I've got. Is that more or less correct?
If they considered me a serious threat, it would have been the RCMP at my door with an arrest warrant and taking me away and pressing charges.
That's fair.
Okay, they had no backbone and they had nothing to warrant coming to my door in the first place. So all thing this coincided with the bill that they were passing, and then they ended up just using me, I think, as just a giant fear-mongering psyop to push their agenda, because they allowed the video to roll and doesn't go.
So basically, you're saying, and because the connection is cutting off, but again, like Rob was saying, I think we're understanding enough that we can make sense of what you're saying. And you're not a threat. You didn't threaten anybody. If it was really serious, the RCMP would have showed up with an actual arrest warrant or a warrant, and that was not the case. It was this very, very nonchalant police officer that literally looked like the guy that got teased in school, and he became a cop to have some authority. That's exactly what I was thinking when I saw him. But at the end of the day, I think I agree with you on the point that this is all about Bill C9. This is what the UK's been living for a few years now, where police officers are showing up to people's doors for social media posts without really telling them what they did wrong, because the process is the punishment, right? At the end of the day, all they're trying to do is to crush dissent and to stop people from saying things they don't like. Because, you know, we were just talking about this with a constitutional lawyer, John Carpe from the Justice Center for Constitutional Freedom yesterday. We were talking about this situation, and it's the same thing as me saying, you know what? I think that all pedophiles should be killed, should be executed. If you're caught messing with a child, I think you deserve the death penalty. That doesn't mean I'm going to go out there with a gun and start shooting them. That just means that I believe they deserve
opinion.
Yes, they deserve consequences. The same way as saying that Fauci, for what he did, deserves to be hung for treason. Is the same thing. It's not a threat. I'm not saying I'm going to do it. I'm just saying there should be consequences to their actions. And, you know, the main question I have for you is, will the visit that you got, will that stop you? Yeah, 100%. But will that visit stop you from
making a statement?
Yeah, 100%. You're absolutely right. It's all part of the process of punishment. But will that stop you from posting? Will that visit ever stop you from posting more?
This new bill is not about controlling hate speech. Oh, God, no. No. I will continue to post and say whatever the fuck I want until I can't anymore.
Well, we hear that. We hear that. I think she said she's going to keep going until she can't anymore. I mean, it's kudos to you, ma'am. It's you know, because the whole point is a lot of times these visits are meant to be scary. They're meant to scare you, right? Correct.
Yeah, well, it didn't work. Joke's on them. The team of Toronto thought police can fuck it.
You want to pin that? Yeah, I think we got kind of the gist of the story. You know, sometimes there's technical difficulties makes it a little difficult,
never
but
been arrested, never been told. Really cheeky with them. I've had my my landlord called the police on me because I was a little bit. My landlord sent the police because I was swearing too much. They're Muslims, and I'm a woman, and the fact that I'm a woman that speaks up for herself, and I swear a lot. So he called the because I was swearing too much. So I told them that to go close the door in their face.
Well, Nicole, we really appreciate you coming and talk to us again. We sometimes the internet gets in the way. It makes for not the easiest conversation, but we certainly got the gist of your story. We appreciate you taking the time, and maybe we'll get you back on another time. Maybe when the internet's a little smoother. But appreciate you, ma'am.
Thank you, Nicole, for showing up.
Have a great rest of your evening.
When they're going to stop,
there you have it.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, it's kind of like interview Mad Libs, right? You can hear a couple words, and you hear like blah 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 psyop, blah blah blah. Goddamn Carney.
I wouldn't make too much fun of her connection because for a while that's what you sounded like.
Oh no! That's why I'm laughing. Is because it happens to all of it. It happens to me a lot. It's unfortunate because it's really hard to have a conversation. It's no one's fault. It's just a technology thing, right? But I do think we were able to get enough words from Nicole there to kind of get the gist of what she was saying. Which to me, I mean, I think I really strongly disagree with this idea of sending 2 fucking cops to your house and scaring the shit out of you like that, but not telling you what your tweet is. Like, even if I agreed with cops going out to people's houses for tweets, which I don't, but even if I did, I would expect that the cops would be able to say, here's the tweet that you did. Because if it's really that offensive, it should be pretty easy to tell, right?
Well, like she said, and I agree with her 1,000%, if it was really serious, they would have showed up with a warrant. The fact that they sent the 2 cops that they sent, that looked like 2 DEI hire, they weren't there to do anything outside of somewhat intimidate her. Clearly, it didn't work out. Clearly, it did not happen. But as you said, I don't agree with this type of thing whatsoever. I don't agree that the government should ever send people, or the police should ever send people to check up on you or to let you know that what you posted online is not okay. That's bullshit. That is exactly what the UK's been doing. That's exactly what Australia started doing. And this is exactly what I've been saying all along about Bill C-9. This is the consequences of Bill C-9. This is what we're going to start seeing. And talking about Bill C-9, the vote was today, by the way. Why'd you mute myself?
Oh, sorry. I'm trying to... can you hear that music in the background? I'm trying to figure out if it's me or if it's you. I muted myself and it didn't work.
I don't... Oh, if there's music...
Church
it might be...
Who's playing the violin? Yeah, I'm wondering that too. I don't know if that's basically what I'm
interesting.
Hearing.
That's interesting. It shouldn't be playing. It's because my apologies. It's because I'm listening to the CPAC feed for Bill C-9.
Oh,
so I guess it's playing.
I'm like, oh, it's actually kind of nice, and then it became really loud. I'm like, okay, it's kind of getting.
Okay, hold on.
No, it's good. It's good. It's good now.
Can you hear him? Can you hear it now?
No, it's
is
good
it playing
now.
again?
No,
that is so weird.
Well, I wasn't sure if it was just if it was me going crazy or but once I saw Church in New Zealand say, I'm like, okay, no, I'm not crazy.
So, well, no, that doesn't. Okay, hold on here. That doesn't.
Well,
crazy.
Yeah, that's
you're not
fair
wrong
point.
on this one.
Fair
you weren't
point.
hallucinating right now.
Yeah, fair point. It's not because of the music, though.
No, you're still a liberal that smokes weed after all. So
yeah.
Let me. I'm just looking. And there you have it. So Bill C-9 just passed.
Okay.
I just looked. Those were the results from about. It passed. The voting started around 6:30. So let's say 40 minutes ago, 30 minutes ago, the votes passed for yays 186 to 137 nays. So Bill C-9 has passed third reading, has been voted on, meaning that it is going to go to the Senate next.
Which is not a huge surprise, I don't think. I think anyone.
Oh, no.
I think everyone knew this was happening.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, it's still newsworthy for sure when it actually does, of course.
Well, no shit, it's newsworthy. This is literally one of the baddest bills to ever pass, and it's passing. It's become a reality. We've literally been speaking about it. At least I've been speaking about it multiple times a week since September last year. That's when they tabled it, like September 20th, September 25th. So
well, it's interesting.
Insane.
Yeah, it's interesting to me. Like, I don't know, anyone who's watching mainstream media or anything in any way, like, chime in here. But is this being reported in mainstream media? Like, is this going to be passed tomorrow? Is going to be in like the Globe and Mail as like a great success, or they just want it quiet? Is this just going to be a quiet thing? They want to pass it. They don't want the fanfare. I think it'll be interesting to see how the mainstream media, because in theory they should be celebrating this, right? Anti-hate speech, and it protects the children. I mean, you've got all the buzzwords that you could ever want to jam into the title, the headline, and don't rely on anyone to actually read the article to see what this is all about. It seems to me that's the MO for the mainstream media on this kind of legislation.
Yeah, because just looking at it right now, there's absolutely no report. Nobody's talking about it. The last reports that I can find are from yesterday, unless the one I'm looking at right now. When was that? That was yesterday.
And they're probably portraying it as just like basic political coverage, right? Like something you slip on page 8. No one's like, it's not headline front page splash about anti-hate or anything like that. It's just procedural. The way they discuss it.
Oh, no, mainstream media is not reporting on it whatsoever.
Yeah, that's very interesting. That's very interesting.
Oh, no, 000. There's no mention whatsoever.
No, like, yeah, hate speech. We're winning the battle on hate. That not the kind of nonsense that they would post. None of that, which is very interesting, because you would think this would be the kind of legislation they would want to celebrate, but for some reason, they're being told to hush it.
You know, if you Google right now, Bill C9. It's the Department of Justice, October 9th, 2025. Then the bill itself on the website of the Parliament Canada. There's a video from yesterday, a Facebook video from yesterday, 2 Facebook videos from yesterday. You go under news, and it's like the two days ago, the Canadian Jewish News.
Yeah, I'm reading that.
A massive platform.
The top returns are like the Canadian Jewish News. The Catholic Register. Online. Yeah, Portage.
Portage
online. Nothing. Like, I'm down the first 15. I don't see one mainstream media article on it, which is very interesting, because this is, in theory, a benefit to the progressive agenda, right? Like, it's not like anyone actually wanted this. No one was clamoring for this. So it's essentially a bone to their progressive leftist voters. So why aren't they crowing about it? It's very interesting.
It definitely looks like they're not that happy about it.
They don't want people to look at it, right? They don't want eyeballs on this bill.
No, and like I've said multiple times, Bill C-63, Bill C-9 is going to feeding Bill 16. They're both going to feed Bill C-63, like we talked about yesterday. Bill C-2 fed Bill C-22. Bill C-2 didn't pass, but it created Bill C-12 and Bill C-22. Bill C-8 is connected to Bill C-22. They're putting the infrastructure in place to make sure that Bill C-9 can be implemented properly. Same thing for Bill C-16, and soon a new Bill C-63, the Online Harms Act. So they are all interconnected. Like I've been saying from the get-go, it's all small bills that makes a big fuck you bill. It's just they couldn't pass a big fuck you bill. Everybody would have known. But people don't pay attention enough to understand that they are all interconnected. But as soon as you start reading it, like I said yesterday, man, I literally spent an hour and a half on the first 6 paragraph of Bill C-22. The summary, first portion, section 1 of the summary, point A. I spent an hour and a half. The bill is 70 or 65 pages long. I just started looking. I'm like, that's a problem. That's a problem. That's a problem. That's a problem. What the hell's going on here? And they're all like that. Like there's I saw an article earlier that was saying that they're going to be tabling a bill soon that is 600 pages long. They were just saying, like, in the news, there's a bill that's coming. I don't know what it's about, but there's a bill that will be 600 pages long. And the author of the article was basically saying that back 24, 25 years ago, bills were literally 20 pages long. Now you have omnibus bills that are 600 pages long, and supposedly that they're already calling to have it split in two so that it's 300 pages. But even 300, that's what they do. And that's not just a Canadian thing. They do that in the US. They do that everywhere. They pass massive bills, and within the bills, things that have nothing to do with the essence of the bill are passed.
It'll be called a Protect the Kids bill, and then they'll put in a thing that says, oh, by the way, we should allow men in dresses to enter women's bathrooms. And then if you say no to that, they'll be like, oh, what, you don't want to protect the kids? Like, no, motherfucker. I'm objecting to that other thing that you put in the bill that has nothing to do with the kids.
No, but that wouldn't be so bad because both of them are kind of related in liberal minds. What I'm saying is that you're looking at a health bill or a yearly finance bill,
a gun buyback or something.
There's a gun buyback part of the finance bills. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? This is what I mean by omnibus bills.
Big. This is about renaming a fucking post office in Bodunk, Alberta. Yes. What are you talking about doing a gun buyback now?
Talking about the gun buyback, there's only 6 days left to the gun buyback. So it is not going well. It's still today. I was looking at videos. Gary, our Minister of Public Safety, was getting grilled in committee. I think it was today. The video from either yesterday or today. But they were basically saying the same thing I've been saying all along. It's reported that there's over 2 million prohibited firearms, like that gun amnesty, that gun grab is affecting. They have literally got 51,000 back, 2.5%. So in committee, there's a conservative guy that kind of drilled him saying, how is that supposed to be a success? And he's like, Gary came back pretty much saying, oh, but there's not that many. It's more like 160 or 172. So he's trying to make it sound like they recovered already a third of the guns. By keeping that number super low, he's going to try to claim success. Oh, we have a third.
They're just kicking the can down the street, though. At some point, they'll have to give the real number, right?
But like they don't know what it is.
No, I know, but they can buy themselves time right now and do some funky accounting and say it was a success. But at some point, whether it's a year down the road or 6 months, that number's going to come out, and they'll be held accountable. I guess they're hoping that they'll be already on to the next job by then, and no one will care. I mean,
it will never come out. It will never come out. There's no way to know. There's
no way to know.
No way.
How many guns they eventually get?
There's no way for them to know. They can know right now. They can say that around 20,000 Canadians registered around 51,000 guns.
Yeah.
So 2.5 guns each.
Yeah.
That's what they registered, right?
Basically, yeah.
But he says that the affected firearms models are about 167. Let's call it 170,000. So he's trying to say that their legislation is only affecting 170,000 guns. When you look at the CCFR's number, the NFAs have said something very similar. Caliber magazine said the same thing, that it's more around 2 million. There's no way to know the exact number because those firearms, unless they were AR-15s that you purchased in the past 10 years, they weren't registered. So you could literally go to the gun store because you had a license, they were non-restricted. You could buy a gun and that's it. It wasn't registered. People verified your ID, but the fact that you bought it or not, it was irrelevant. They did not register that anywhere. That's the difference between the restriction, like the restricted, when you bought a restricted firearms, the arms dealer, the person selling you the firearm had to call the government and say, hey, That person came, correct that this license is right, and then it's right, no problem. We're going to take a couple of days, maybe a couple of weeks in order for you to leave with it. You couldn't leave that day with the gun. It needed to be registered with them. They needed to issue what we call a it's for you to be able to transport the gun, because when it's restricted, you can only transport it to the gun range. You can only go to very specific places. But unless you were, it was one, because the point is that a lot of those guns were not restricted, were non-restricted, non-recorded anywhere. So there's no way for them to know how many guns there is out there. There's no way. The only reason the CCFR has somewhat of an estimate is that they deal with firearm owners all the time, and they can probably, like, they're, oh, okay, that's about this. But they're going to try to keep that number very low. Like the federal government is going to keep that number very low to try to show that, oh, this was not a big deal. It barely affected 170,000 guns. We got a third of them back. What a great success our program was.
Yeah.
Who's going to go and say that? Are you serious, asshole? There's like 3 million of them. There's no way. I don't like, I got to be careful what I say here. Nobody out there that don't plan to return their firearms want to tell the government how many guns there is out there. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Nobody,
of course. It's a number they can't know, essentially.
No, exactly. So we don't want them to know that number. I don't want to know what that number is.
Yeah.
But the estimates are 2 million, but it's a catch-22, right? We're screwed no matter what. Because if we say that it's 2 million, okay, so that means you pretty much are saying that there's a lot of people you need to go after. But at the same time, if that's not the case, it looks good for them. It looks very good.
They got a bigger percentage of the guns. Either way, it's a ridiculous policy. If Carney's any kind of smart, I think he'll just quietly back away and let it die. It's kind of like these bills, right? Like these bills, C9s. And I saw this comment here from Bacon Slayer, said there's 3 theories that came up with why the Canadian government is doing this without stopping. I mean, don't type out 3 theories, but give us your top one, because the thing is, it's a fair question, right? Like, let's just, okay, I know that you're going to just say, oh, they're just trying to hurt us and trying to, okay, fine. Let's just forget it for a second. Let's pretend that they're actually somewhat of a functional government. Right. And
but that's not the case. So why talk about something that's not the case?
But like there's still some of it that functions. The way that, what was the bill that John Carpay was talking about last night that they did pull back?
Bill C2.
Bill C2. Okay.
Bill C2.
So on some level, for some things, the right event can occur, right? There is some still connection, however tenuous, but from the electorate to the government that is governing them. So just for a second, pretend, why would they do this? Yeah, I don't know. It's one thing if, like, you remember when America implemented Obamacare, whether you agreed or disagreed with Obamacare in 2008 or whatever, Obama ran on that, right? So he ran on basically universal health care. And when he got elected, they then went to work. And again, this isn't pro Obamacare or anti. I don't care about what you feel about that. The point is, that's the way that you're supposed to do these big things in a democracy. So no one was answered for this. No election was fought on this. There's no clamoring for this kind of thing. So why are they doing this, right? And again, I know what your answer is going to be, and you can go ahead and give it.
Oh yeah, but they're disarming people. It's plain and simple. What did they do to Australia? What did they do in New Zealand? What did they do in the UK? You think it's a coincidence that those 3 countries had all their guns removed?
No, that's what it is.
And now they have all the censorship laws in place, is because, you know, I posted about this today, and we're supposed to have guests, so I'm not sure what's happening right now. We're supposed to have 2 guests joining us at 7:30, but clearly it is not happening right now. So I don't want to say. It was kind of a surprise.
Okay.
That's why I do my intros. It would have been for a very good conversation. So I'm not sure. 7:35. I'm not sure what's happening here. Actually, I'm going to text one, but you know, man, to me, this is all part of an agenda that's going on worldwide at the moment. If you look, populations are being disarmed. And as soon as population gets disarmed, you start seeing those censorship bills rolling out because they don't have an opposition anymore. This is always the way that it works, and that is Marxism 101. Look at any country that went communist, that went socialist. What do they always do? They disarm the people first. They take the weapons away so that those people cannot fight back. That's plain and simple. There's a good reason why, if you look at the US, however you feel about the US nowadays, but if you look at the first two amendments, the First Amendment being free speech and the Second Amendment being the right to have a regulated militia, these are the first two ones. Basically, there's nothing more important than free speech. And if you lose your free speech, you want to make sure that you have enough guns to gain it back. That's it. That's the first two amendments of the Constitution of the United States, which is brilliant in my opinion. This is the most important piece of legislation, if you ask me, ever written, or those two amendments. Because outside of that, I don't need more than that. Free speech no matter what, and I have the weapons to take it back. The rest of me, don't care. Don't care. It's all niceties to have, but if you don't have those first two, you're not free. And this is what we're seeing in Canada. You know, for all the people out there, we're only about 2 million, 2.5 million legal gun owners in Canada that have their registration, that are in good standing, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
That's 5% of the population. If you think that we're 40, give or take 5% of the population. So I understand that 95% of people don't really have a play or don't really care about what happens to firearm owners or their firearms. But the point in the matter is that without guns, this country would have never came to existence. Do you honestly believe that the guys that came here 300-400 years ago would have fought bears with their bare hands? Yeah, fuck no, bro. So guns made Canada. Guns are part of Canadian culture, at least the Canadian culture I was brought in. People hunted. People believed in self-defense. This was a way to protect your loved ones, to put food on the table. And that's a fucking fact. I don't care how people feel about this. Canada is a gun nation, yet we have none of the problems that people can blame on guns that the US does. We don't have those problems. We can't even compare ourselves to them. I don't think there's no problem in the US. If you remove the top 10 states, the top 10 biggest cities in the US where guns are basically illegal, where only criminals have guns, you start to realize that the US is not even top 30 country in the world with gun crimes. The people that own guns legally are not the problem. We're not the one going around shooting people, and that's both in the US and in Canada. But the point is that Canada was built with guns, just like the US was built with guns. It is part of our culture. But we forgot that. We forgot. We don't even know what being Canadian is anymore. Ask the average person. Ask your mother next time you see her. What does it mean to her to be a Canadian? And see what she answers.
Yeah, I think I think definitely, regardless of where you stand on guns, even if you're not strongly interested in the gun issue one way or the other, you should still want government to spend resources making laws that to solve real problems, right? It's just a waste of our governmental reason. They're doing so little things as is. They're barely there as it is. I'd much rather you spend your time trying to solve real problems, right? Maybe try to bring the crime rate down. Focus on that shit. So that's sort of my take on it. I would say most of the information I have about guns comes from being on the show. But yeah, I've seen enough to know that even though I'm not a gun owner, just from a civil liberty standpoint and just effective use of government resources standpoint, I don't see this as a problem. Legal gun owners are not the problem here. They're not any sort of problem. They're not in the top 100 of problems facing Canada. So that alone should make you oppose spending, whatever billions of dollars they spent already on this ridiculous gun ban.
Man, if you look at the statistics, legal gun owners in Canada are the safest people in Canada by far. It's not even close. If you go by statistics, we are the safest people, because the average Canadian doesn't know that, but my name is ran through 2 federal databases every single day to make sure that I didn't cause a problem. I didn't have an incident that could prevent me from owning firearms. Because if I did, they're going to come knock at my door and take my guns away. There's no other part of society that are not criminals that have this type of eyes on them at all time. Last time I checked, and I don't know if that changed since this all gun ban started back in 2020, 2021, but it used to be the case that the RCMP just needed to give me 24 hours notice before showing up to my house because I own firearms. They had the right to show up. I had to let them in so that they can inspect my firearms, see if I'm storing them properly. It was something like 24 to 48 hours that they had to give me. You don't even have those rights for a pedophile that's been convicted, that's now on parole. You can't just say, I'm going to come visit you because you committed a crime in the past. You need to have a reasonable reason to do so. But as a gun owner, you don't need that. They technically can show up.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yet we are the safest segment of the population in Canada, and that's how we're treated by a liberal government that's trying to disarm us. But it has nothing to do with fixing gun crime, because clearly we're not the ones committing. 95% of the gun crimes are done with guns that were never legal in the first place. 90% of them come from the US. 5% of the gun crimes are caused not by the guy that owned the gun legally, but by a firearm that was owned legally at one point. So somebody invades my house, steals my guns when I'm not around, and they use it in a crime. That's 5% of the crimes. The rest of the 95% are illegal guns. So even our guns are not the problem. It's insane that this type of shit is actually going on and nobody cares. Nobody fucking cares.
No. Yeah, no. So it, I mean, it's just a waste of government resources. So what's next for Bill C9 then? Is it goes to the Senate where it will be certainly approved, and then that will probably take a couple weeks, and then that'll get approval, and then I guess it's law, and then we're gonna have to wait and see how they're gonna enforce this, because it's gonna be, we're certainly gonna be playing videos. If you start seeing a bunch of videos like the woman we had earlier this morning, if we start seeing those videos make the rounds on social media, that's when the independent media, that's going to be its moment to shine, right? Hopefully people are not cowed by these laws, and they talk about it as if it's a real problem.
Yeah, it's it's one of those things that they're either going to start doing it right off the bat, or they're just going to sit. They're going to sit on it, and when Bill C-63 comes out, now they're going to go after it. It's very hard to predict how they're going to do it. I don't know, man. I don't know. I would be surprised if they start going after people right off the bat, because there's too many other bills. They still need to pass C-8. They still need to pass C-12, C-16. They want to pass C-22. They're going to want to pass the Online Harms Act. So I think that in order to get that done, they're going to have to be very careful about the way they apply it right now. But like 2027, oh, bro, if all those bills become reality by 2027, which I believe that will be the case, next year is going to be they're going to go gun-ho. As soon as they can use that power, because by the end of the year, man, it's October 31st. The gun amnesty is gone, right? You're now a paper criminal. So guys like me, if we don't give if guys like me don't give their guns back, let's say that I had those guns. I'm not saying I do. I'm not saying I don't. I'm just saying, if people like me don't want to give their guns back by October 31st, we become paper criminals.
Yeah.
And hey, bro, it's 10 years it could be up to 10 years in prison, man. More than a rape. This is the equivalent of a rapist that rapes someone with a firearm, an illegal firearm. So me keeping my firearm, knowing that it is illegal, is 10 years, up to 10 years in prison. I could rape someone with an illegal firearm at her throat as I'm raping her. I'm looking at the same time.
That's pretty crazy.
pretty crazy.
That's fucking insane. Yeah, just holding holding the illegal gun gets you no more time. You may as well yeah. So if you do the rape with the illegal gun, it's no more time than just holding the illegal gun.
That used to be owned, that was purchased legally and owned legally for years until they made us an overnight paper criminal.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's
and Lori is right. Wild. Probably that the rapist would get less time because somehow it's probably racist or he didn't know.
Yeah.
Did you see the case in the UK where the guy was let go because he was an immigrant and he did not know that rape
didn't know you can't
was
rape.
Not okay?
Didn't know you can't rape. Oh, he fucking knows. He fucking knows.
Yeah.
They have rape where he's from. He knows. It's just, you know, if you the only people rape laws in the countries they're from are designed to protect like the wives of rich and powerful men, but like regular, like just, you know, low status, poor, those kind of women in those countries, they're free for the raping, and that's why they come over here, and many of them think they can do the same thing here.
It's
and then our courts say, oh yeah, they must not have known. They come from a magical fairyland where there is no rape. They don't know.
Where raping people is not a big deal.
It is not a big deal. Yeah.
Actually, it's not quite illegal. It's a gray zone.
It depends who you rape. Essentially that's why those laws are enforced in those kind of countries.
Yeah, well,
depends who you rape. That's why they have a mindset of you know, fucking, like when I was in Afghanistan, we would work with ANA, Afghan National Army, and ANP, Afghan National Police, and they'd have their own section of the tent or of the camp, and you'd be told you're not allowed to go down there that way. Who knows what the fuck they're doing, right? There's always dancing and music and playing, but it's just, this is the culture they grew up in. Some rape is okay as long as it's the right person. And then we're importing massive numbers of these people and not giving them any pressure to assimilate. And then when the rape rate, which has gone up 700% in 15 years in the UK, it's gone up 700%. And no one asks any questions. Like you think maybe importing large numbers of people from societies where women are thought of as property might not have something to do with it? It's the sickness, man, that's going on in the West.
Since you're talking about Afghanistan, because I got a buddy of mine that served in Afghanistan too, and he said that, and our guests are there, but I want you to say if that's just true. But he told me that on patrol, like at night, they'd be patrolling the exterior of the base, and they could hear very strange noise, as in you could hear people like boys.
It's very big like in Afghanistan. The dancing boys, they're called the Bachi Baza.
No, but they get raped. Like,
oh yeah, no,
and it is normal Afghani culture that grown men rape young boys, and that's just normal. And he was saying that he has children, right? He's a guy I've known for almost 2 decades now, and he's like, bro, I got kids, and I could hear kids getting raped, and we can't do anything about it because that's the culture down there. It's fucked up, man.
That's I've never personally heard anything as graphic as that, but I have heard lots of guys that I know and trust who have been in situations where it was graphic. For the ANA units that were tasked to mine, they were far enough away, and I think they were told this by our commanders, just because essentially that is what's passed down. You cannot interfere in their culture, and that's their culture. So I think our commanders were basically saying, okay, nothing we can do about what you're going to do, but you go fucking half a kilometer down the river, right? And you could hear music and dancing coming from that, but you couldn't hear anything as graphic as that. But I'm sure it was the same thing. But that's the point, is that's just their culture. Okay, fine. We can't judge other people's culture, sure. But now we also have to import massive numbers of young men from these cultures. Okay, now all of a sudden it is our business about what that culture is all about, right? If you're going to tell me that we've got these massive numbers, and it's nothing to do with the race. The left will make this about a racist thing. No, it's a fucking culture thing. You know, this is their culture. Is rape is okay as long as it's the right person. You know, you certainly wouldn't rape the local warlord or chieftain's wife. Everyone knows that. then you'll find out real quick that's illegal. But if it's a vulnerable, poor child or something, then yeah. And like you said, this is a culture. It's a thing where the rich local men, the local Taliban leaders, and even the local A&A leaders who supposedly on our side, but they weren't really, right? They were far more. They each had their uniforms on, but the guys supposed to be on our side were much closer with the local Taliban commanders as they would have wanted us to believe. But yeah, this is all this is part of their culture, and then we're importing huge numbers of them. And you see numbers, and like I said earlier, the UK, the rape rate has gone up 700% since 2000 or something, and no one's putting these two and two together. And it's the same things happening here all over the West, really.
It's absolutely insane when you consider this. It makes no sense to me whatsoever. And this is a great comment right here saying that we can judge their culture if they're living here with us in Canada.
If you want to stay the fuck over there, I don't care. I won't judge. I don't give a shit. I mean, I still will, but it won't matter. Like I'm not going to make a big deal of it. But once you want to start coming to this country, then yeah, absolutely, I'm going to judge your culture. I'm going to judge your traditions and see if they fit within the values that we have here in the West.
And obviously, they do not.
Many of them do not. Correct.
By the way, it seems like there was a miscommunication on today's show, so I don't know if it's my mistake. I'll take the blame for this one. So our guests showed up pretty late, and they literally showed up like maybe like it seems like they were both there ready to go like 5 minutes ago, and it's not enough time. So I just told them we'd reschedule. So I apologize, guys. They're both very sorry. They're both being good Canadians, saying "I'm sorry, I'm sorry."
Oh yeah, no worries.
I'll appreciate that because I can see
Chris in the back. Good to see you, bro.
And he's laughing. Good to see you, man. We'll have you back on. We'll reschedule. I think there might have been a scheduling issue, so.
Oh, good.
I'll take the blame. I'm a white guy. I'll take the blame. I'm used to it. So I'm a white Christian, so I'm getting blamed for it no matter what.
In fact, you're the one who looks olive skin. You look Italian or something.
Yeah, exactly. How dare you not allow not one to have Afghani rapist in Canada? How dare you?
And to be clear, I don't have an issue with I think I definitely also worked with lots of what you would consider high character Afghani guys too. We lived with we had an embedded interpreter, and he was, just the nature of that. You have to basically decide if you trust this guy because he's there in your unit, right? And if we didn't trust him, he wouldn't last long. But you trust these guys with your life, so it isn't. You don't want to paint every brush. There are individuals who are going to make it, but we're talking a broad culture. And if we're going to do mass migration from that, then yeah, you can't do that because we don't have the time or the ability to sift through and interview every single person to find out if, this is one of the good ones. And you could even make the argument it's not their fault they grew up in it. Fine, I don't give a shit. I just don't want them here. It's not difficult, right? I'm not going to personally judge you. I don't give a shit what you do in your dancing boys the world over there. Just don't bring it here, right? Once you come here, then of course, yeah, it's fair game. We are going to judge you. We are going to look and say, do we agree with this or not?
But you shouldn't be here in the first place. Again, cultures don't align.
No.
This is a fact. Those cultures don't align. And that was one of the topics we wanted to talk about with our two guests today. I guess I can tell you who they were. They were journalists, Mocha Bazirgan and Chris Joseph, the father of Jackson Joseph, that was killed during the Humboldt Broncos bus, I don't want to say incident, when a fucking illegal immigrant basically killed 16 people. Or somebody that should be illegal, that should never been here in the first place, killed 16 people. Mm-hmm. I know Chris is in the back, so I'm trying to be respectful about what I say here, but we wanted to have that discussion as to how deep this goes, because there's some really bad reports. There's some very interesting reports out there that there's massive foreign organizations that are here in Canada that are pretty much with their fingers everywhere. And that's what I wanted to talk about tonight. So it would have made for very, very, very interesting episode. So hopefully we can reschedule it. And I apologize, Chris. I'm leaving you there in the background. But we definitely, it's all good, man. It's all good.
Yes,
It's all
all
good.
good, Chris. We'll have you
we'll
back
book
on
it next week.
soon. Yep.
We'll book it next week.
I know
we
the
have a
audience
chance
would
now.
like that as well.
Oh yeah. Plus, we had the chance to speak about Afghani rapists, so I guess not everything's lost.
Yeah,
Like we have the most random fucking conversations, but
yeah,
Chris,
yeah.
I'll reach out again, man. Yeah. Oh, see, there you go. Nico been watching Mocha more. I see. I'm I've been following Mocha for a while. I've been trying to get him on for a while. I actually enjoy the content that he creates because, man, that guy got balls to talk about what he talks about, and he got balls, man.
What's his thing?
He speaks a lot about the World Sikh Organization, how active it is in Canada.
Oh yeah, I'd really like to have that conversation.
This is something that he's very, very vocal about, which again I have a lot of respect for. I don't know as much as I probably should know about their implication here, so it would have been it's not like me talking with John about a topic that I control, that I just want to have an assessment from somebody with a legal background to make sure I'm not fucking crazy.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, like I would have been just asking enough questions to run the conversation and to let him answer, because I don't know as much as I should, and I know, but supposedly that their ties goes deep in Canada and on both sides of the aisle. It's not a liberal versus conservative thing. It's a government thing. It's all part of the foreign interference reports that we saw from the RCMP. And
I saw something
supposedly
recently
that they're extremely involved. These are the people that are.
Yeah. Like they're doing murders. They're committing like high level crimes. I think I saw someone the other day. It was like, I don't know, maybe it was a government or a media piece, but it was almost like they were like cheering. The RCMP was like, we've stopped all of the murders of Indians, from Indian foreign nationals, or working for, under foreign influence here in Canada. There's like been no murders for 6 months, and they're all like cheering about it. Like, yeah, but why is this even an issue? Like, the fact that there were so many murders that you're now cheering, like there should never have been any of these murders. Like, are they going to get into it? Are they going to dig into it? Are people going to be arrested, expelled?
Of course not.
Is it just, oh, I guess it stopped, we're good? Because the fact is, if it just stopped and you didn't do anything, then yeah, okay, Modi or whichever intelligence service is running them probably told them to stop until the heat dies off, but they still can turn that back on. Right? It's not like we broke up some assassin rings or anything like that. Just they stopped killing people here in Canada. Okay, well, have you figured out why? Have you figured out what's to stop them from killing people again if they get the orders to do so? Because of course that's going to happen.
Yeah, 100%, man. It's one of those situations where it's very hush hush, right? The average Canadian is not aware of this, doesn't realize what's actually going on. But what do you expect? Like, use your common sense hat for a second. Over the past at least 5 years, our main provenance of immigration is India.
Yep.
You don't think that they're going to bring their problems here?
They are.
Like, are you serious? Like, do you not think that that's how it fucking works? If people from a country or come from a country that is poor, guess what? They're going to bring their poor values here to Canada. If they come from a country that's infested, exactly. What do you think that's going to happen? It's like, bring a bunch of people from Israel, a bunch of people from Palestine.
Yeah, what do you think
in the same city? What do you think? You think they're going to make up here in Canada? Fuck no.
They'll continue to fight here.
It ain't the Zohan.
No.
I don't know if you've seen that movie, but that movie is
Adam Sandler.
Yeah, don't mess with the Zohan.
Don't mess with the Zohan. Yeah.
That's not the reality in which we live, right?
No,
so
definitely not.
Yeah, Trevor's right. Trevor's been posting a bunch of comments about the work that
Mocha's doing. I'll check it out. I like to read that.
Yeah. Check him out on X. Mocha
Okay.
Bezirgan. It's spelled exactly how it sounds with a Z in it.
Yeah.
And it's the
Well,
guy looks like he's like
maybe we should
19,
book.
20 years old. Like he
Maybe
looks young.
I got a
Like
feeling
very.
like after I watch these videos, I'm gonna be like, fuck, we should book these guys for the full hour then, if they can
We
do that.
could. Oh yeah, we
'Cause-
probably could. It's just a matter of doing it here. We probably could. Man.
Yeah, it probably. Yeah, it sounds like there's. I'll check out a bunch of these videos. It sounds like there's going to be a lot to talk about.
Yeah, definitely. And I want to really see the conversations and the connections between the World Sikh organization and what we're seeing happening in Canada.
Yeah.
Because if
Just
you guys
connect some dots, right?
Well, there's a social content there's a social content creator that got assassinated not too long ago, and there's rumors. I'm not saying that it's true. I'm just saying that there's rumors that
That he was involved.
She made a lot of content about that stuff.
Oh yeah.
Like
and then she dies, and who is rumored that she was. Yes, of course, that's why she was killed. That's exactly the point.
You know, man, she got whatever the Sikh equivalent of she got Clintoned.
Yeah,
that's what we should talk about.
Yeah,
here.
it's like that stuff is going on over here. Like it's a proxy battle for over there, but like we can't allow that. You can't like you import large numbers of people with absolutely no pressure whatsoever to assimilate. Not only no pressure, but the opposite. If someone else put pressure on them to assimilate, they'll get told, "Oh, you're racist. You're racist. You know, be quiet." No, fuck you. You've got to assimilate into a country. If I moved to India, I would try to fit into Indian society and culture. That's just, it would be obvious to me. It would be offensive to go and try to change their culture because if I liked the one in the West more, I would have just fucking stayed there.
You know, that's the last thing I'll say at least because it's the end of the show, but
yeah.
This is the same thing. Do you know that we have conservative Sikh MPs in Canada?
Yeah. How do you expect them to vote? Do you honestly and truly expect them to vote if an issue comes up and it's, let's say it's one that actually will have important implications for the Sikh community or whatever, it will affect this battle. I don't even understand the battle. That's why I want to talk to this Mocha guy. I'd like to understand the forces that are at play here, right? Like I know it's some tribal, I don't even know who the Sikhs are against. You know, but in the Khalistanis, it's like are the Khalistanis against the Sikhs? Are the Khalistanis Sikhs? I don't know. Like I'd like to know all these things. But if something comes up in the House of Commons and they have to vote, and there's one of the side of the vote is clearly going to favor the Sikh community and the other side is clearly going to harm them. Do you honestly think he's going to vote against that? Even if his constituency does not benefit, you know, it's just, there's so much potential for corruption with this kind of thing.
But it makes no sense. The point I was making is not that I'm surprised that they're in parliament. I'm surprised that they're allowed to be conservatives. One of the conservative members that's Indian descent can barely fucking speak English. You ain't a fucking conservative, bro. Can't even fucking speak the language.
Yeah. What do you know about the culture? What do you know about the culture that you want to preserve? Like that's the whole point of a conservative movement is you are preserving something from the past, right?
And
how would you even know?
People speak English, right? Because they were kind of invaded by the UK. Like the UK visited the India for a long time. So I'm just saying that most of them speak somewhat of English. But that dude is an MP. He was part of
and he can't even speak English.
Before you go, I need to talk about our sponsors. So this episode of the Political Orphans brought to you by Miss Cleo's Pet Treats. 100% natural, healthy treats, free from preservative, additive, or fillers. Made by hand right here in Canada. Not only are they made by hand, but she sourced all the meat from local farms in Manitoba. So none of that Chinese meat crap for your dog. So if you know that your dog deserves better, go to Cleo's Cookies Treats.ca and use the discount code Political Orphans. Just look in the description below, and that will give you 20% off your entire purchase. On that note, tomorrow we are joined by, I think I could call him friend of the show because he's been here quite a few times. The man that took a walk in the woods, Jeff Eveley,
Jeff,
in Nova Scotia, to speak about his case that he currently has in front of the court, where he was fined $28,000 for willingly, on purpose, going for a walk while being looked at by police. So we have him at 7:30 tomorrow, and I will rebook Mocha and Joseph hopefully next week so that they can come and tell us more about the Sikh World Organization.
Nice. It should be an excellent show. I'd really like to have that one. And it seems like the audience will be quite interested as well. So we'll see what we can do about getting that. Maybe we'll get that for the full hour. And obviously tomorrow's chat with Jeff will be great. Always love to have Jeff on. Guys, if you are tuning in for the first time and you want to support the channel, please consider becoming a member. You can do that through YouTube, of course, for the low price of $2.99 per month. You can also buy us a coffee, which you will see in the upper left-hand corner of your screen. And of course, another way to support the show is keep coming back, keep getting those comments out there. Remember to like and share the stream. That'll help us with the algorithm as we try to push the reach of this show. And other than that, folks, have a great rest of your night. We'll cap off the week tomorrow night. Peace.